Afrobeats has sold its soul for money. Let me share the video I came across first on Afrobeats losing that spark, that authenticity, that sound, and then I will tell you what I think in response to it.
But Afrobeats is no longer Afrobeat.
It's crazy because we really told y'all, gatekeep, gatekeep, gatekeep. And y'all said, no, we nothing like y'all African Americans. We love sharing our culture. And now look, Selena Gomez, Mama Afrobeat herself.
You've heard it for yourselves. Here's what I will do. I will break down the problem from an African and music industry perspective. Then I'll look at a case study of one artist that is benefiting from this apparent watering down of Afrobeats. And I will also talk about the underlying reason that no one else is talking about in terms of why we're seeing the authenticity of Afrobeats under attack. Buckle up, this is the no BS version. When we look at why Afrobeats is losing the sound that we fell in love with per se and doesn't have that thing anymore, the problem is this. The height of music for African musicians and Afrobeats artists in particular was never about conquering Africa. It was about conquering America because that's where the big dollars are and the most coveted awards come from, like the Grammys. Whether we like to admit it or not, America is the mecca of the music industry and has marketed itself as the place where you want to be to make it. That means once the US opened up to Afrobeats, there was always going to be some sort of gold rush per se. It's all about the opportunity opening up. These artists thought to themselves, now is the time. Afrobeats sold its soul to America because it wanted validation from the US, but only wanted grassroots support from its own people as a springboard to get there. That's the game right there. And this is why now some Afrobeats acts don't even want to do shows in their own countries like Nigeria unless they are paid $400K and transported with a private jet. So you tell me you won't perform for the people that handed you fame, from grass to grace. Guys, but money talks and the economy is tough. Musicians are not a charity. Let's address the specific Burna Boy part of the video.
Y'all said Burna Boy, and now look at Burna Boy living his American dream fantasy, celebrity fantasy. This in Afrobeat. We told y'all.
Burna Boy said it himself that even though Tony Braxton owns most of the publishing on Last, it's the song that made him the most money ever, or the song that makes him the most money in his catalog.
I've actually made more money from that song than any other song in my whole career.
If you ask me, he would be a fool not to try and replicate the Last formula, because who doesn't want more money in their lives? This is something I've learned in marketing anyway over my career, that when something works, try and replicate it, then scale it. Once you have that, you have struck gold. Milk that cow until it is dry. And in Burna Boy's case, this is why we now have songs like Sitting on Top of the World with the Brandy sample, Big 7, City Boys, which really have more hip-hop, R&B beats for the US market, and then some Afrobeat style singing on top, just sprinkled on top. I mean, the guy is nominated for Best Melodic Rap Performance at the Grammys. It even sounds crazy when one says it, but this is where Afrobeats has gone and the soul is sold. Don't even tell me about Burna Boy saying his sound is not Afrobeats. Whatever, bro. The Afrobeats sound has changed and will continue to change whether we like it or not, because for many of the biggest Afrobeats artists right now, we Africans are no longer the target market, or at least not the main one. The rest of the world is, particularly Americans, because what they're seeing are US dollars. Or if we don't want to put a nationality to it, it's the diaspora market. At the same time, the identity of Afrobeats is going to become more and more blurry as time passes. For example, some of the biggest Afrobeats artists in the world are not African. Take Rels B from Spain, for example. Many songs he does are considered Afrobeats, and he is featuring in that like top 30, top 40, top 50 of Afrobeats artists in the world. These are some of the parts of the evolution we must accept, even if we don't like them. I mean, Pinomeko from South Korea dropped an Afrobeats banger, Bolo, last year, which went viral.
Baby, do not like the world.
Afrobeats is global. Now, let me share with you the underlying reason that no one is really talking about here in terms of why Afrobeats has really changed and is going to continue to change. And that is the fact that the US and major labels have also really started looking outside the US in the last few years, not only to the African market, but because the US music scene, by and large, might do numbers, but hasn't given us much great music or commercial talent over the last few years, or growth, because numbers are important to them. Hip-hop is a major culprit here. Hip-hop is absolute garbage these days. This is why we're seeing the likes of T.I. hopping on Amapiano. And I did a video on that particular song he did with Kamompela, produced by Shampuru Makenzo, so check it out on the channel, but I digress. When the American artists and labels start to rope in whatever flavors are hot and in the process bastardize the authenticity because they will impose their own styles and ways of doing things, and they have the money to do this, we have to realize that we will lose something in the process. And the bigger Afrobeats and African music is, the more likely it will become a victim anyway. They've been working tirelessly to get any artists from the US with a tan to do a song with their Latin American counterparts, because those people do crazy numbers with fiercely loyal listeners. Afrobeats is not immune to this, and Afrobeats artists will have to twerk for remixes and whatever because they're after money now. And those opportunities won't last forever. And it's a numbers game for everybody. This is why we ended up with that Rema and Ice Spice song, which is, in the simplest and nicest way, not a great song. It felt like the two artists just bumped into each other at studio and decided to do a song because, well, they were in the same room, not because it made sense or there was synergy between their styles. I don't think anyone was calling for that collabo to begin with. My guess is it will not become as big as Calm Down remix with Selena Gomez anyway, and I really wish Rema had not done that song, but it is what it is. However, once a certain line has been crossed, there's very little anyone or any of us can do to contain it. But you have to grant some grace to musicians, because musician income is not guaranteed. You have to make your money while you can make your money. So is it fair for us as the audience to judge these artists and ask them to turn down life-changing money and opportunities in order to protect the integrity of Afrobeats from an authenticity point of view? Is it really fair? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. At the same time, is it a reasonable expectation to expect Afrobeats, as a genre especially, and the sounds around it, not to evolve over time? I know we might not like the direction it's going, but that's not really for us to determine that, is it? It was always going to be difficult for us to continue loving it the same way as we ourselves get older and our preferences become more ingrained based on what we gravitated towards at a certain age or time period, especially when Afrobeats was gaining prominence. This is where I need you in the comments. Has Afrobeats actually sold its soul for money? Or are we being spoiled little brats that want to gatekeep the genre from evolution? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, do share this video with a friend, a co-worker, family even. That would be great. And leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, that's it from me. My name is MJ Wemoto, son of Zimbabwe, signing out. Peace. Ndende.